13 love, 13 knowledge, 13 wisdom, 13 respect. This is your creation 13. The great storyteller. I was just sitting here and I was asking Christ, I'm like, what do you want me to talk about? It's been, 3 months since I made a video. It's been an interesting journey through those 3 months. And I was like, what do you want me to talk about? A lot of things came up, but at the end of the day, the great story. Great story. Each one of our lives is a story, right? Has a beginning, has a middle, and it has an end. And how does that look, and how do we define our lives if we realize that our life is like a book? And we read the first page when you're born, and then you realize when you get to the final chapter that it's almost over. It's almost over. And a lot of things will be revealed. A lot of things were revealed in your life. But ultimately, it's that end game that you don't really realize. So, to really break it down, real simple, we have to look at what is taking place in life right now, right? In your life and the importance of your life. Through these 3 months, I've really been, Christ has really shown me some very interesting things about life and people's lives, right? And then reflect that onto my life, right? I was very, my life is I'm very, I don't know what word to say. I'm very grateful for my childhood, for my life in general, right? Beautiful parents, they took care of me and my sisters, very loved, very supported. My mom was overprotected, but still, we were in a loving family. There was no abuse. There's things here and there, but it didn't affect the family-oriented values of things. And my mom was Christ-centered, Christian-based, born and raised in a Christian home. So my mom talked about Christ all the time. And I've told my story about having this deity that guided me and protected me. Learned about, went to church, learned about Christianity and Christ and God, and just put these two things together of like, oh, hey, this deity is Christ. He's been guiding me and protecting me. And so on and so forth. So just continuing through life. Teenage years were tough being homeschooled. Childhood best friend just really went his separate ways. And that's the progress of life, is that things evolve and your story will take twists and turns. And you're not always going to be the popular one or the one that fits in. It depends on your story. It depends on when you're born, too. The zodiacs, all these things come into play. But we're not taught these things. We have to find these things. We have to put them into the test within our lives. And it creates rocky foundations depending on what program you choose, right? Your greatest story, right? Choosing these programs of life. But with that being said, there's just some, like myself, who dig deeper into the programs. You see the programs, you see the manipulativeness of things, you see the destructiveness of things. You see that there's not a lot of love, true love, and caring of people. They're very, very, very hard to find. Very hard to find because they know how to talk right. They know how to bring in people through a manipulative state of being. but there's no love there, right? And like myself, that's all I know, is to love, to care, to provide, things of that nature. But on the other hand, what I've learned through life is also you have to stand up for yourself. You got to be confident within yourself. You got to know when to let go of people, and don't let people take advantage of you. So you got to learn the balance of those situations, because there's people who are too loving, but it's because they lacked love. They look for love, even if they are manipulated into something, or if they're being used and things of that nature. So it's finding the balance and the fine tunings of these programs, right? And that's all my journey has been since my awakening in 2010, is learning about the programs of life, right? And when it reveals itself, it blows your mind, but then you realize that you're don't want to be part of these programs, and you start to see the sim activations in these programs, and the zombified state, or the CPU state of the majority of people, right? They can't get out of that program. They're not designed to get out of that program. And to really break it down, and just to make it simplified itself, is look at your story. Are you a CPU, or are you mastering the games, or trying to master this game to the best of your abilities, right? And with this great story, we talk about the creators. What are the creators, right? We go back to the Anunnakis, Mesopotamian, right? You look to the Bible, it talks about the Anunnaki, the Elohim, right? Those who came from above. But there's a lot to that story. There is this suit, this body, and its origin, and the origin of the ancient ancestors, okay? But there's also the origin of your spirit, right? And still been playing around with the word soul and spirit. The root word for soul is interesting, so I've been saying spirit because it is an essence that continues on, right? So we have to look at, there is these realm of spirits that we come from, and we ascend and descend. Talked about the shadow realm, and just deep studying of the Bible within these 3 months of not making videos, just really coming to a realization about what is taking place in the Bible, and to be aware of, that you create your story, and you're here to experience a physical reality of your desires, or of a manifestation process, which is very, very fascinating. But there seems to be a set destiny for you in this program. And I've experienced this many, many times, because I've watched people change and shift their lives, and they don't always tell you how or the sacrifices, but they say that they got from here to here. But a lot of the stories that I've seen is people who start from the ground up. They became homeless. They lost everything. And when you get into that state, it's a renewing state. You start your story in a new chapter, and you build things up, because you don't have anything to fall back on. You've lost it all, so you start up again. But for those like myself, right, I have the stuff that I have chosen on my path before my awakening, right? There was just certain things that I wanted to accomplish, which was family, kids, settling down and just enjoying life as a whole. That was my goal. There wasn't anything else. It was just, just finding a family and kids and just going down that route. But I was unprepared of the drama of life, the ups and downs in relationships and things of that nature, and the struggles that come around, the emotions, the things you may not have experienced when you were younger, things like that. You have to experience those realms, and I got hit with it all at once. And when I had my awakening in 2010, I had to shift a lot of that and made that version of myself in 2009 and down, and it had to die, right? So in 2010 was my awakening, or a new chapter in my life. But I didn't lose nothing except for the old me, which was just a one that was really depressed and always looked at the negative things of life. And then my life went at 360. My relationship with Christ grew humongously to the best friend point. Like, I was always talking with Christ in 2009 and continuing, but when Christ was there saying, hey, in January of 2010, he's just sitting at my desk saying, hey, you need to learn about the world. My whole life changed, and it just put me on this path, this spiritual journey of deep exploration of the self. And once I learned about the self for 3 years, about 3 years, meditating 4 or 5 hours a day, every day, just really neglecting my family a lot of those times, just to really try to figure out what was going on, because I knew there was a shift taking place on this world, right? And then after those 3-4 years, bam, start getting hit with a lot of different energies and frequencies, and really just trying to find a community to talk to you about my experiences, because they were very unique. And I know a lot of people say, oh, their journey is very unique, but I wasn't really seeing anybody actually have the encounter, like talking with Christ 24/7, seeing through the veil, seeing spirits and entities on people, and just everything just really was like 80-90% heightened, and it was blowing my mind. The only person that was talking about and experiencing the stuff I was Rion, with Team Light. He was the only one that I could relate to with the experiences and the encounters and the continuing encounters to this day, right? So through these 3 months, I really had to sit back. I mean, pretty much Christ would not let me make a video. No matter how hard I tried, there was always something that kept me from making a video. But now it works. And that's just how things work in this structure, right? It happens for a reason, whether it's a test, it's learning, it's not the right time, because you got to realize, if you are decoding and basically sending viruses into the matrix will send an antivirus over. Say, whoa, hey, what's going on over here? Why is this individual not falling for these programs? What's going on here? So it'll start to manipulate your reality, right? Really bizarre stuff, but that's what I experience and encounter. So at the end of the day, the great story is your story. How real are you in your story? Are you just following the programs of this realm? Or if you're familiar with Christ, are you not following the ways of the world, right? You got to really define that. What is that? Do not follow the ways of the world. That would mean everything. Every program, every group, everything is the ways of the world. So you don't follow the ways of the world, then what do you have left? Now think about that one, right? How do you fit into all of that? And how do you become the best version of you, right? Where you are loving and confident, you're building on what you need to build, you're learning, and you're consistently talking with your guides all the time, right? Christ is my main one, but there is other ones that help you out along the way, right? All the time, and they're all over the place. I've been experiencing a lot of the veil is very, very thin, so you're going to be seeing a lot of interesting things, and I'll talk about that next video. But at the end of the day, look at your life and look at ways on not being part of the world, but building what you do like to do in this world, because you got to enjoy life here, but you're learning as well, and you're also mastering reality, because it's a very important. What you do here transcends into the other realms, right? What you do here transcends into the other realms. Really pay close attention. I've been really observant of my experiences and choices, how they feel, the energies, where they take you, things like that. And then just the revelations that I've been really digging deep into the Bible with the root words I've been talking about, really comes to the conclusion that there's a lot more to this, that the shadow realm, the spirit realm, tries to keep a hold of you. So you want to make sure that you're aware of that realm, but you want to also be aware that you're a creator, right? Again, it goes back to what Christ was talking about, that did you know that ye are gods? But that's where everybody gets the misconception of what that is. Like, we are gods. What is that? Oh, you think of all the ancient ancestors, right? No. Don't look at that word as gods, but look at that. Ye are creators. You're a creator. What does that mean? You create your reality. So that's what Christ talks about. He's talking about creating realities, creating your story. And when Christ is helping these spirits, he's helping them realize that they got trapped in a story and they didn't know how to leave the story. because they got trapped in the shadows of their story, right? Goes back to that never-ending story, right? So a lot of things to digest in this. That's really what I felt Christ wanted me to share on this, was the great story, because your story is the great story. But you have to ask yourself, are you mastering the programs, not living by the programs, but mastering them, and ascending continuously, but also enjoying life, right? You can find the balance of enjoying life, but also sharing your story. And that's ultimately another thing that I've learned through these 3 months is learning how to share that story, right? Because there's a lot of things to share, but you got to be able to tell it in a story, right? Because life is a story. It really is. So I'm going to go ahead and end it on that. So love yourself. Keep shining bright. Write down your story. Learn how to improve on things. Things like that. So I could talk forever. So love yourself. Keep shining bright. I will see you guys soon.